Hello students, this is your English teacher Mrs. Aimavati from LPSAVANI VIDHYABHAVAN. Students, today we will continue with the lesson pronoun, in which we will study types of pronouns. In the last session we discussed personal pronoun, possessive pronoun, demonstrative and interrogative pronoun. Today we will discuss reflexive, emphatic, distributive, indefinite and relative pronoun. So let's discuss reflexive and emphatic pronouns. Reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns are those pronouns in which the action done by the subject reflect upon the subject. So here the action which is done by the subject reflect upon the subject. Means this reflective pronoun is used when subject and object are the same. For example, he hurt himself while running. So here subject is he. So whom he hurt? So he hurt himself. So here the subject reflects upon the subject. Second example is we enjoyed ourselves in the park. So we is the subject here. So we enjoyed ourselves. Ourselves is the reflexive pronoun. Next is emphatic pronouns. Emphatic pronouns are those pronouns which are used for emphasis and have the same forms as reflexive pronouns. So emphatic pronouns are those pronouns which are used for emphasis, for giving more emphasis and have the same forms. The forms of pronouns are same in reflexive and emphatic. Only the usage is different. We can identify whether it is emphatic or reflexive pronoun the way it is used in a sentence. For example, she herself asked me to call you. She herself asked me to call you. So here herself is emphatic pronoun because it is giving more emphasis to she, the subject. Okay. So when the subject is given more emphasis, at that time the pronoun is emphatic pronoun. So, next is they themselves organized the party. So themselves here is emphatic pronoun because it is giving much emphasis to the subject they. Now let's see the forms of reflexive and emphatic pronoun. When the personal pronoun is first person, second person, third person, at that time what reflexive or emphatic pronouns you will use? That is in first person, when the personal pronoun is I or we, reflexive and emphatic pronouns in singular, if it is I then we will use myself, if it is we then ourself, because I is singular. So for singular reflexive and emphatic pronouns, singular will be myself and for we it will be ourself, that is plural. We is plural, so the emphatic the reflexive or emphatic pronoun will be ourselves. Next is second person. Second person, you. If you is personal pronoun, then reflexive and emphatic pronouns will be yourself in singular and yourselves in plural. Third person, he, she, it. He, she, it, these are singular. So he, for he we will use himself as reflexive and emphatic pronoun, for she herself, for it itself. They is plural form, so for that we will use themselves. Okay. So in this way these are the different forms of reflexive and emphatic pronouns. So it depends on what subject we are using. Distributive pronouns are used to refer to persons or objects one at a time. So here we will discuss distributive pronoun. Distributive pronouns are used to refer persons or object one at a time. When we talk about one at a time, at that time we use distributive pronoun. Some distributive pronouns are each, either, neither. Example, each of the students must carry his identity card with him. So here each is distributive pronoun. Neither of them has been to London earlier. Neither here is distributive pronoun. Next is indefinite pronouns. Indefinite pronouns refer to persons or things in general rather than to a specific person or thing. So, indefinite pronoun means it does not refer to a particular person or specific person or thing. It refers to persons or things in general. When we talk in general, anybody, nobody, someone, somebody, everybody, none, one, no one are all indefinite pronouns. For example, everybody knows that she is a good singer. So, we are talking in general, everybody knows. I am not saying about a specific person knows. So, everybody knows that she is a good singer. Do you want anything from him? Anything. Anything doesn't mean a specific thing. So, do you want anything from him? One needs to pray every day. So, one needs to pray every day. This is in general we say that one should pray every day or one needs to pray every day. So, these are indefinite pronouns which refers in, that is, to persons or things in general rather than specific person or thing. Next is relative pronouns. Relative pronouns are used to refer to, that is, relative pronouns are used to refer to nouns mentioned previously, whether they are people, places, things, animals or ideas. So, these are the pronouns which are mentioned previously and whether they may be people, places, things, animals or ideas. So, what are the pronouns we use? That is, words who, that, whom, whose, which are all relative pronouns. So, we use who, whom and whose when nouns are persons. So, when we are talking about the nouns which are persons, that is the nouns are persons, at that time we use who, whom, whose. And when we use which or that when nouns are animals and inanimate objects. Inanimate objects means which doesn't have life. So, that is things, non-living things. So, which or that is used for inanimate objects, who, whom and whose are used for persons in relative pronoun. So, let us see examples. Examples. In this, if you see, that man who lives near my house is a doctor. So, here that man who lives near my house is a doctor. So, here who is relative pronoun which relates to doctor. Okay. So, that man who lives near my house is a doctor. So, it relates to the noun doctor. So, in order to relate the subject, that is doctor, we are writing that that man who lives near my house is a doctor. Next is the doctor whose sister is a nurse is good. So, here whose relates to the doctor. The doctor whose sister is a nurse is good. So, we are talking about the doctor is good. So, who is the doctor whose sister is a nurse? Okay. Next is, this is the book which I read last week. So, this is the book which I read last week. So, here we used which because it relates to book. So, that is the reason we are using here which. Which and that is used for are used for animals and inanimate objects. So this is the book which I read last week. Have you eaten the mangoes that father bought yesterday? So here that relates to mangoes. So that is why we have used here that. Who, whose, whom are used for person, and which, that are used for animals and inanimate objects. So relative pronouns are used to join the two sentences also. So we can use these pronouns, that is who, whom, whose, which and that, in order to join two sentences. So this is all about types of sentences. Thank you.